Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Malty Monday, which tonight we're going to be featuring the Scotch Ale / Wee Heavy, which is one of the heavier Scottish type ales out there. First off, I'm going to welcome my great panel. We got to my right, Whiskey Scout.
Hello.
Got Thrash Metal Homebrew and Barbecue.
Boom.
We have Thomas Mill 75, The Descent.
I'm going to be the Descent this evening with Scottish Ale.
We have John Anelli.
Hello.
Georgia Beer Reviews, I believe. Did you change your channel name? Is it John Anelli or is it Georgia Beer Reviews?
Well, it's John and Nelly, but if you, Georgia Beer Reviews.
Name of the show.
John Anelli or and then we have Bear Man.
Hey, guys.
And myself, Bumpy Road. So let's go ahead and say welcome to the chat. So far we got JB, Jeremy Benson. He was first and only so far. Cheers. Thank you, Jeremy, for popping in. And in the basement, we have somebody who finally made it home. And that's Drunken One. So we'll bring him up as well once we get going into this.
I'm a perfect candidate.
If there's anybody in the chat that wants to pop in, let me see if I can. Yes, that's the right StreamYard link right there. So if you want to pop into the panel, if you have a Scotch Ale / Wee Heavy, you can come on in. First thing I'm going to do is just go through the BJCP guidelines. And what I found interesting about this was
Nitro.
even though it originated in Scotland, they I think it was back in 2009, they moved the Scotch Ale / Wee Heavy from a Scottish beer to an English beer. So everybody can see that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
So we got the 17C Wee Heavy. Overall impression, it's rich, malty, dextrinous, and usually caramel sweet. These beers can give an impression that is suggestive as a dessert. Complex secondary malt and alcohol flavors prevent a one-dimensional quality. Strength and maltiness can vary, but should not be cloying or syrupy. Let's get past all this because we'll talk about all the color, flavors, and mouthfeel and everything else. Comments, we got also known as strong Scotch Ale. The term Wee Heavy means small, strong, and traces to the beer that made the term famous. Fowler's Wee Heavy, a 12 Guinea Ale, historically the strongest beer from a Scottish ale party gut. And history more related to historical brews than modern lower strength Scottish ales. These beers have their roots in the strong ales of the 1700s and 1800s, although formulations and methods have changed. A premium product often produced for export. Modern versions have lower starting and finishing gravities than their historical ancestors. Very cool. And we actually do have one of our panel members did bring it what they consider an export Scottish ale tonight. So they'll have a little bit of a different view on what most of us have. I do not know what Drunk One brought either, so it'll be interesting. But let's go ahead and jump right into seeing what Whiskey Scout has to say about beer he brought.
I ain't opened it yet. Should I have opened it?
Well,
I haven't opened mine yet.
Okay.
Go.
Well, I got a great divide. Claymore Scotch Ale, Denver, Colorado at 7.7% alcohol by volume. And this will be the second Scotch Ale, or first really. No, I've had that. If the Dirty Bastard's a Scotch Ale, I've had that before. So
Oh, it is. It's
So
delicious.
this will be my second one. So anyway, looking forward to it. I've warmed up with the Bellhaven like Eric's drinking, so I'm kind of ready. See how
Yeah. Woo. It's a wee dark number.
Oh, looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it is. And
Nice pour. Woo, yeah.
Wow.
You're like a professional.
I might have done it a few times. I've been working on it since about 1984, 83. What's it called? I don't know how you say it. Repetition breeds accuracy.
There you go. You got it.
You got that right.
It's got the on the nose. It's the maltiness is. It's more lighter. It's not a dark roasted malt, but there's a maltiness. It's a more fresh, more grainy style maltiness in the nose. There is a little bit of caramel in the background, but those are the two things that just come up front. The head dies pretty quick, and it's really dark. How far you want me to go, Bumpy? You want me to go ahead and taste it? And
Yeah, go all the way through it, and then we give the score afterwards. That way everybody can remember what you're drinking and hear about how you
I'm
feel.
just going to run with those two as my initial nosing. Just that's the two things that really I noticed really well up front. If they don't roast it, there is a little roasty note to it, though. I get just a little bit of a roasty note. It's not like a stout or a porter or anything like that. There's still a freshness to it. Caramel. It's like the guidelines said, not syrupy or cloyingly. It's neither one of those. It's light, and for as dark as it is, it's a very light mouthfeel. It's not very syrupy or heavy. Cheers, guys. It's good.
Cheers, brother.
Jeremy wants you to chug that beer.
Finish it, Robert.
Holy crap.
Jeremy, you talk bad.
No, he's trying to set an example.
Really, that's what I get, guys. There's a little bit of a vanilla note now that it's dwelling just a little bit, but I'm not getting really any fruity character that I can. Any fruity or overly sugary characters are coming through, other than the caramel itself. It's kind of simple, kind of easy drinking. 7.7%. Do notice the alcohol just a tinge. It's not overbearing or anything, but it just sits there in the back corners of my tongue on each side. I do notice just a little bit of it. And there's a little bit of a bitterness to it, but it's very light, very small. It's a good, easy drinking beer, dark beer.
Sounds good.
I like it.
Good.
Nice.
We'll get back to Whiskey Scout later on. We'll all do the scoring or at least how we feel about beers overall when we're all through. We're going to move on to thrash metal.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Whoa. How draped everything. All right, we got Oscar Blues Old Chub.
And what beer are you drinking?
A wee heavy.
All the way home.
All right, so this guy is Scotch Ale, Oscar Blues Old Chub out of Colorado. I like how they do the Colorado USA.
That's good.
This guy comes in at an 8.0 ABV, 13 on the SRM scale, and 30 IBUs. This guy was canned on December 30th of last year. So you can see it's pretty dark. If I grab the flashlight, kind of portery look to it. It's got that redness to it, that dark. It's got tight, really good foam on there. Kind of it's got some legs to it.
And she knows how to use them.
That's right. Keep
That
them
will-
down, honey. Keep them down.
Mm.
Smells very. It's got a good roast to it, and really good sweetness to it. Like these guys should have the Scotch ales. I love Scotch ales. They're yummy. The foam is dissipating a bit, as you see. I'm getting hints of like Robert got. I got some vanilla in there, and kind of a hint of like a black licorice, a little bit, just a hint,
A wee hint.
just a wee bit. It's got overwhelming malts notes. Just envelops your nose completely. It's going for a taste. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Very sweet. Bitterness is there, but it's not pronounced. It's very well balanced. There's a good dryness on the after effect of the drink. Very sweet up front, like I said, and then it just envelops everything as a smooth, really good envelopment of your mouth, and then just dries out as you drink it. Oscar Blues always does a good job on their beers. It's got good lacing.
That does.
Very good dryness. I mean, Scottish ales. I mean, think they really show off these. If you do them right, they're kind of a show off beer. And Oscar Blues does a good job at it. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So now we're gonna go to somebody who's gonna have a different opinion, a little bit, just a little bit in ABV wise. We're gonna move on to Thomas Middle.
Not much of a difference, folks. I'm actually kind of glad now that we're going through it that I did pick up the beer that I did, just to give a little perspective on how far you can go with the traditional beers of Scotland. It looks a little bit green there, but this is actually blue coloring. The Belhaven Brewery, they have tons of different styles, but this is their Scottish ale. And this one was actually $8.49 for the 4-pack, and it says December 31st. Good until December 31st, 2020. Okay, wow. It says the year 20 on the bottom. And this is the nitrogen version, I guess. There's no widget, but it did make the hiss, and it surged and it did its thing. This is 5.2%. The Scottish, they call this a Scottish export in the BJCP guidelines, but basically a Scottish ale isn't going to be a really big percentage. This style, an export ale, is between 4 and 5.3%. This is probably the most common of the style, and it's just going to be literally a wee bit lighter in alcohol and probably in the maltiness than your big boy wee heavy Scotch ales. So yeah, here's what this one is looking like. It's looking almost like a English bitter, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it does.
Head there, very caramel, toasty, malty looking beer. And it does remind me of Guinness initially with some of its dryness. That could be from the nitrogen can. I am also getting toffee caramel sweetness. I am getting some brown breadiness to it. Maybe a light amount of like an apricot or like a marmalade kind of a sweetness to it as well. Definitely some roasted malt, maybe a little bit of raisins and or cherries. It is actually kind of reminding me of a cross between like a toasty red ale and like an English stout or a Irish dry stout in that flavor department. So Yeah, let's do it. Cheers to the Bellhaven
Good.
Scottish
Cheers,
Ale.
man.
Cheers.
It's a rich, nutty, smooth.
Cheers.
Yeah, rich, nutty, smooth. Definitely. I'm definitely getting that red ale, toasty malt feel to it. Brown bread, raisins. Yeah, definitely raisins. Definitely creamy, smooth with that particular head.
It sticks to the glass really good too.
And the mustache. But yeah, crisp, clean, ultra refreshing. It's on the light side of medium. It just is literally a wee version of those wee heavies and Scotch ale. It's got all the same flavors in it, but it's not. This particular beer is not as chewy, malt rich, and it's a little bit thinner in the mouthfeel. But if you want to do a little bit of session and you want the Scotch ale feel, this Scottish ale is not a bad way to go. So just a smaller package for the style of Scotch ales, the Scottish ale, Bellhaven. Cheers.
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 Yeah, that one's pretty good. If you want to
And,
bump, if I can bump myself out, if drunken one wants to come in, yeah.
Up to you. I mean, I was going to go through John and then Beer Man. So
Yeah,
I'll
that's
bring
cool.
John.
Yeah,
and
okay.
then before I go, I'll bring Drunken one up.
Excellent, good plan. All right.
All right. So I have a Bellhaven beer as well. This is their actual wee heavy, 90 pence. Apparently, as BuMpy told me, I didn't look it up before, but I'll take his word for it. 90 pence, wee heavy. What does it say? Rich Scottish ale. This one is 7.4% alcohol by volume. This is an 11.2 ounce can or bottle. I'm sorry, bottle. One thing about this is an actual Scotch ale because it is imported. It is actually brewed and bottled in East Lothian, Scotland.
Sorry, John. That's pretty damn funny.
I thought you were laughing at me. I was just making sure I didn't have like.
No, it was what Jeremy posted.
Oh.
I'll mute
All right,
myself.
so my two favorite Scotch ales are the Founder's Dirty Bastard and probably Innocent Gun. They make their original is really good. I've never had this, so let's see how this stacks up to some of the better Scotch ales that I've had. There's a pour, nice two-finger head on there, kind of almost a khaki colored head. The appearance, very deep amber color. The camera's really not doing it justice because the lighting in here is poor, but when I hold it up to the light, there's like some nice ruby hues coming through. I mean, it looks really good. The aroma, yeah, this actually smells a lot like the Innocent Gun. I'm getting some nice caramel malt. Much like with the Innocent Gun, it's almost like a cola note on the aroma. It may sound strange, but it's good. It smells delicious.
I get that on some beers.
So caramel, a little bit of like a cola note, a touch of smoke, or I guess you could say like a peat type aroma. Very malt forward, not picking up on any hop presence or anything like that. Definitely going to be a malty beer, as the style indicates. No alcohol on the aroma, 7.4%. You would never know it just based off the aroma alone. So let's do it, guys. Cheers. Excited
Cheers.
to try this.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, man. Yeah. Rich. You're getting that caramel right up front, some nice sweetness to it. A little bit of that cola is kind of coming through on the palate as well, much like with the Innocent Gun. If you've ever had the Innocent Gun original, very, very similar. This beer is to that, except this has 7.4%, whereas the Innocent Gun original, I believe, is 6.8. So a little bit more alcohol with this one. Super smooth, relatively light-bodied for a 7.4%er as well. Carbonation's light, almost medium. This is really malty. If you love sweet malt-forward beers, you're absolutely going to love this beer. It's malty. It's got a lot of complexity to it. That little bit of peat and smoky character that you get with it almost gives it like a barrel aged. No, this is not a barrel aged beer, but you could fool people into thinking it is.
I agree. Even on mine, I agree.
A touch of dried, like a dried fruit, dark fruit, maybe like a date or a fig in there, but it's kind of on the back end that I'm picking that up on. And the finish is relatively dry, just a kiss of hops on the finish, like not a real bitter hop bite, but there's almost like a little bit of a grassy hop bite on the finish to balance the whole thing out. This is a winner. This is right up there. This is moving to the top of the pack as far as, my top 5 Scotch ales go. This is probably number 2 or 3. I still think I prefer the Founder's Dirty Bastard. That's just one of the first ones that I tried, and it's absolutely delightful. But this one is a winner, and I will definitely seek it out again. It was a little bit more than Eric's. Eric bought the Scottish ale, the lighter ABV version, which was, I believe he said 8 something. This was $10.99 for the 4-pack, so a little bit more money, but the quality that you get with this beer, it's worth it. So I'll keep sipping on it, think of a rating, but first impressions are pretty dang tasty.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Awesome.
Nice.
Beer man. Bring you up.
Hello.
I think. I don't know. My things are freezing up a little bit right now. That's not cool. I clicked you.
There we go.
Hey guys.
Yep.
Cheers, Jojo.
Okay, there he is.
Well, I've got the same one here. I've got Claymore as well. Scotch ale, 7.7%, as you've heard. There's no ABUs or there's no IBUs that I could find on this. I love Great Divide's beer. They have some really good beers. So I haven't had this in a long time. So we'll find out. There's no date. Well, there is a date. November 22nd, 2019 is what I have. So
That's the same date on mine.
wow,
Ooh.
that's crazy. All right, that's good. Let's see how much different we taste these at. Everyone's taste buds.
Taste them at?
We yeah,
Good pour.
that would be with 2 E's.
It's like my beer, dry humor.
All right. So we have about a finger and a quarter-ish half, kind of maybe head there. Smell it. Oh, I was thinking I'd get a little something. I don't know. This is actually pretty malt forward, caramels. You get a little bit of even some dark roasts in there. Yeah, it's very, very malty, very nice. I like that. The creamy off-white head, kind of a tannish head. The legs are starting to kind of grip on. Got about maybe a medium rising bubble or so. It's kind of a ruby-ish red, ruby red, dark brown, at least in my light, I think. It's clear, but it's dark. You can see the shadows and all that. Let's go ahead and taste this.
Claymore.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm getting up.
Cheers.
That's actually the appropriate glass, too, I believe.
I didn't know if it was or not. I just had to grab something.
Thistle glasses, but that's a pretty good represent. The thistle just has a more of a bulb, literally a bulb shape at the very, very end. That's not too far off.
That glass he has always reminds me of a spade, from the
It
car.
does.
I never thought about that.
Spade's a spade.
It's nice.
Spade's a spade. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
How's that fucking beer?
It's smooth. The carbonation is not too prickly on the tongue or anything at first. It kind of smooths out. Nice and creamy. All around the mouth, it's just mouthfeel is just amazing, creamy. Really soft, subtle, but you're getting a lot of the malts. You're getting some roasted malts as well. That toasty, roasty kind of feel. It's not too boozy at all. Actually, I don't get any fumes at all going up there. Kind of smooth all the way around. It has a longer finish. To me, it is. It does dry a little bit at the back of the throat there. It starts to dry off. But very malt forward, very caramely, very dark roasty. There's no like dark fruits. I was thinking there'd be a little dark fruits. The Chub has a little bit of dark fruity, I thought. I thought it did though. I haven't had it in a while. So, but this is very good, very delicious, very easy to drink. I'm really liking this, man. I'm glad I got this one.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, guys.
Does that beer have any smokiness or like peat malt flavor?
No, I didn't.
Nah, not really. Nothing that I could tell. Might be a little woodiness, maybe a little herbaceousness in the back or around the mouth, but nothing real crazy, you know. Earthy for sure, though. A little bit earthy. Yeah, not bad though. Really good. Easy to drink as fuck. It's really good. Sorry about that word.
You gotta figure out the word.
No problems. No problems.
Words are
Mad verb.
words are
Sweet. So what I'm gonna do, Beer Man, I'm gonna drop you out since you're the last one right now to go. I'll bring up Drunken One, and then we'll bring you back in and stuff to do the whole scoring stuff. All right.
Sounds good. Cool.
So bringing up Drunken One, this is gonna be interesting. See what Drunken One picked up.
Final cut.
First, we're gonna go to John and
Hey,
Nelly,
Drunken One.
Oh,
what's up?
and I gotta find Drunken One. There he is, and then
I'm the other cool kid, remember?
Boom.
All right, cheers, gang. All right, per John's. First of all, thanks for having me here on this wonderful panel. We got a hospital tonight. Okay, so as John suggested, I did go ahead and I got the Founders brand Backwoods Bastard, which he explained was a lot like the other one, but this is barrel aged. This is an 11%. It's I've already gotten into it. Just I hadn't finished it, and I got 3 more of them. So it pours with a.
Did you notice on the
a little better last time? I had a finger head last time of very, very tight bubbles in the glass. Very, very impressive smell or aromas as it be. This is what I wrote down. And thank you for putting me last. I might add. Of course, I showed up late, so it's expected. But that way I get some chance to hear some descriptors and get some ideas and see if I'm tasting what you're tasting and seeing what you're seeing. Okay, I find it to be an amber-colored beer. Flashlight. Ooh. Right here, it's not quite brown. It is a dark amber. It's got quite the glass lacing and alcohol legs. Of course, it would at 11%. It's probably something you can store back for a while, I guess. But I find the flavor to be sweet, very sweet. Lots of caramel. Lots of caramel in it. It's very, very sweet. Roasted toasty, roasty toasty, as John puts it in a lot of his reviews. The malts are definitely toasted, and I find that it's got you can taste the barrel and the bourbon, but I feel it's pretty well balanced. You know, it's a big beer, and so there's gonna have to be some kind of they gotta balance stuff, and they did a really good job with the Cheers Founders. Char and bourbon. Okay, roasted toasted malts. It definitely has a full malt mouthfeel. It's no, you're drinking it. It's surely a sipper. And I said it was well balanced, and I get dark fruits like raisin or maybe plum or fig or something like that, maybe. And then on the back of the thing, real quick, because I'm just trying to fill my time because y'all have great reviews and I really don't. This says, expect lovely, warm smells of single malt Scotch, bourbon barrels, smoke, sweet caramel, and roasted malts. It's a bit earthy spice. Okay, a bit earthy spice and dark fruits. It's kickback sipper made to excite the palate, it says. And so, yeah, I'm very pleased with it so far. That's what I've gotten out of it. So, cheers. I'll drink along with you, but I've been sipping along. I've been talking. But it's a wonderful beer. I think I've had the other one. What's the one that's just lesser than this? It's the dirty bastard. I've had that one, and I was impressed with it. This is warm. This gives you the warm fuzzies already.
On a Monday,
another 11% beer on the ride. I mean, earlier, And so I did the dragon's milk. So this is kind of sort of like that. But second beer of the day, and I'm getting the warm fuzzies already. So cheers to 11% beers. Chug, chug, chug. And away we go. Cheers.
Jeremy needs to get in here and chug a beer. Talking about all that chug talk over there.
Worked out too much. Come on, Jeremy, get in here.
And the SRM is 22. I looked that up, but the SRM is 22.
Yeah, you got some knowledge from Drunken One today.
Yeah. I looked that bit up there a little bit.
Cheers.
And they like it on Beer Advocate. I got my notes before I went to them, but they like it on Beer Advocate. And I think I'm going to stick along the same lines as their numbers. I'll let you know that in a second, though.
You got any smoke?
It's definitely a world class beer. It's definitely a world class beer, and I would show it off and to friends, and I would sure buy it again.
Is it smoky?
Especially if she was drinking with me.
Ooh, hello.
Oh yeah, chocolatey. Wait, what?
Smoky rock. Smoky flavor in your beer.
That was a pointy rock.
Yeah, there you go, Drunken One.
The warm fuzzy.
Yeah, warm fuzzy.
Right? You know how it goes, man. Nice.
All right. So I'll bring myself up. So I won't be able to bring up the chat while I'm doing my little thing. So we'll talk about what the chat's doing afterwards. Take me off big screen. Take me off big screen. The beer that I brought tonight is from the Orkney Brewery.
Ooh, Skull Splitter.
And it is the authentic Orcadian Ale.
Skull Splitter.
Out of Scotland.
Yeah.
Skull Splitter.
Nice.
So this comes in at 0.5% ABV.
0.5.
Not
0.5%. It doesn't.
8.5.
Oh, 8.5.
You didn't hear the 8. I'm sorry.
I lost internet connection, I guess.
Rat bastard.
Yeah, so not as strong as Drunken Ones, but
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our host.
Drunken Road Brewery.
He's all
this is only an 11.2 ounce bottle.
He's already got the warm fuzzies.
Already got the warm fuzzies.
Oh.
So it pours with a
nice.
a head, a 1, 2, and a quarter finger head. A little bit off white, kind of going in that khaki color. The bubbles are fairly small, but some larger ones starting to generate on top. Color of the beer itself is doesn't look as dark as your guys.
It doesn't either.
Yeah, it's very, very clear.
Quite
Kind of an amber-esque color to it, and the aromas. A lot of first thing I noticed is like a caramel to toffee sweetness. There's some like plum aromas coming up as well. Don't notice any hops in it. It's very, very malt forward, as the style is. Yeah, very sweet smelling with the caramel toffee and plum.
Nice.
First swig. So cheers.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, it looks nice.
All right, first flavors. It's kind of going in that darker bread malt flavor, a little bit like that bread crust. Tad bit of a. It's a little bit more than just like a caramel sweetness. So it's kind of like a toffee that's been cooked a little bit longer. Almost has a little bit of a burnt note to it.
Good lacing.
Yeah, nice, beautiful. Yeah. It's really nice.
Bit of a fruit ester in there. Not quite the plum that I was getting out of the aroma. There's actually almost a slight amount of like a banana note in this.
Banana note. You're just making that up.
No, a little bit of a banana note, but there's also the darker dried fruit type flavor, but not quite as juicy plum as I was getting in the aromas. The flavors of it are not as sweet. They're a little more on the darker, harsher side of the malt bill. body on this thing.
Nickel bread.
Pretty thick. I'm going to go with high medium to going into full body. Carbonation's kind of on the low side. So yeah, it's a nice drinker. I am left with a little bit of a dryness on the palate. This even at 8.5% though, this thing drink it right down. So
Drinks like a 4.2.
that's why it's the skull splitter, because you can just slam these things down. So we will come back around with everybody to give out the scoring. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take myself out. I'm going to bring Beerman up. It's going to be the full screen, so everybody just go in order from when you went and give out your final thoughts on the
Robert,
beer.
you first, man.
So you'll be first. But let me take myself out first.
Cue me when it's my turn, because I forget.
Rabbit.
All right. I'm going to give it a score of, I'm going to give it a 92 out of 100. It's incredibly drinkable. It's incredibly good. Don't really find a whole lot wrong with it, other than I really can't find a whole lot wrong with it. I don't know whether why. I mean, maybe a little bit more richness in the mouth for me for that. I mean, a little more rich flavor building for myself. And Beerman's right. It does dry. I didn't really think about that. And then after he mentioned that, he's spot on with that. It is it dries in the back as it goes. And it's just, I don't know. I like it. 93 is a good score. So with that, and, let you guys go on.
Cool. All right. So the Old Chub from Oscar Blues, it was so good I had to pour up another one.
Cheers to that, right? Nice.
I made some additional notes. So
Mommy, wow, I'm a big kid.
so as the other beer was warming up, some other flavors came into play, which is really cool. A little bit of raisin came up. And guys, punch a like button for BuMpY, man. Get down there and punch that like button for him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. A little bit more molasses came out, and the licorice really stands out a little bit more. It's not overwhelming at all. It's just the style. You get that kind of a licorice taste to it. The malty caramel standing out, the slight roast, and it's very fresh and medium effervescence with it as well. So it's a belcher. So it's got some bubbles in it, but I'll rate this guy as a 97.
Nice. Good score.
Double chub. Ooh, whoa.
Go on. Drunken one.
Hey.
Here's a straw.
Wow.
That is homebrew equipment, people.
What hell of a straw.
Hell of a straw.
Homebrewer silicone tubing.
All right.
One hell of a straw.
I'm going to
Where's my razor?
This is not a computer game from the 90s, but Descent. I am doing a Scottish ale, the Scottish ale from Belhaven. They are getting an 86 out of 100 in that Scottish ale style from BuMpY, and they're ranked number 14 in the style for that particular beer. I'm towards the end of this one. This is really kind of, for me, in the realm of English bitters, ESBs, and our English stout / the Irish dry with this nitrogen system that they got going on. This is they call it the draft. I can't even see that. The draft flow system. There was no widget in there, so I don't know what they did, but they did it, and it hissed and it surged just like a Guinness.
So it's really dry, right?
It's not as dry as Guinness, but it's pretty dry. I am getting a tiny banana, if I got to be honest, now that I think about that. And all these kind of dried fruits and some of the darker fruited ones. But again, between those English-style stouts and the ESBs and the bitters. So pretty good if you want a lighter beer. It's 5.2%. If you want the style with the big maltiness, but you want some sessionability so you can drink other things, this one would be a great way to go. I'm going to go 88 out of 100. I'm really digging this. This has got great drinkability. It is pretty bready malty. Again, you can drink a lot of these with relative ease for the style, and it ain't going to cut your head off. But there's nothing like world-class and outstanding that when I drink it, I like drop my jaw. So high B+, great praise for the beer. And
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. Right.
Yep.
All right.
Think
Well,
beer
mine has had time to warm. As it warms, it's becoming more smoky. This is one of the smokier Scotch ales that I've had. It almost develops, I wouldn't say there's a banana note, but on the aroma as it warms, I'm getting almost like a Belgian quadruple, like a Belgian yeast thing almost with it on the aroma. But it definitely increases the smoke on the palate. The body's still pretty light, even though it's 7.4. It's pretty light all the way through. There's still no alcohol burn. You can't tell it's a 7.4. So you can get into a lot of trouble with these. They're super smooth. It's a 96 for me. This is one of the best Scotch ales I've had. I would give the nod to the Founder's Dirty Bastard. I think that's probably my favorite. And the Innocent, this is head-to-head, though, or toe-to-toe with the Innocent Gun. It's just as good as the Innocent Gun. Okay. The good thing about this one, it's got a little bit more alcohol. It's 7.4. The Innocent Gun is only 6.8. So a little bit more bang for your buck with this as well. So 96 out of 100.
Would you say that's a malt lover's beer? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, right.
I think all of them. I think
drunken one.
Yeah.
On the bottle, it's like it's popcorn on the front of the bottle. The picture.
Popcorn Sutton?
Yeah.
Oh, is that really him?
I think so.
I can't see. Like he is.
It looks like
Yeah.
I was like, you held it up. I'm like, that's popcorn.
It does kind of look like popcorn Sutton, doesn't it? Hey, it might be. Maybe he made the bourbon that went in barrels.
If it isn't, he was the inspiration for it.
Yeah.
It's just a backwoods bastard. That's all it is.
Okay. Is it Beer Man's turn or my turn, or how'd it go?
Oh, Drunken One, you can go if you want. You're all.
Oh no, it doesn't make difference. I'm just trying to keep the rotation right. It won't take me long. I'm a terrible reviewer. This is a great beer. It's a great beer. Wow, y'all go out and try it if you haven't tried this version of it. If not, get the Founders kicks ass. You don't care what Founders it is. Founders kicks ass. This is obviously a different kind of beer than the stout, the big the KBS and CBS and stuff. But it's a lot the same in the sense that it's rich and robust and it's dark and it's rich. You know, you feel like a man when you drink it. It's not a cowardly beer. And I don't know what the calories might be, but you feel like a man when you drink that sucker. So I say Worms Going Down. It's very rich and decadent. I'm going with a 97. 97. This is definitely right up there with the rankings of any other beers like that. I'm not really. I brewed a Scotch ale once, and it was a really good beer. It was like a 10.1%, if I remember right. It was awesome. It was expensive to brew, but it was awesome because all the specialty malts and stuff. But it was great. Cheers around, and y'all go find some Founders beers because they're freaking awesome. 97.
Nice, good score. Founders is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. It's my turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is this warmed? I actually I got kind of a cashew or like a walnut nuttiness. And like this crazy slight, like just a slight banana hit. I know everyone's bringing up the bananas, but kind of like a banana nut bready kind of feel to it. I don't know. It was really nice. The booziness kind of lifted through the nose a little more. as it warmed up. Not a lot, not intensely, but enough to say, hey, it's almost an imperial here. I'd say if you're going to score on out of 100, I'd probably go with a 95.
Nice.
I would definitely give it a 95. So it's got an A. Cheers.
Cheers.
Finish that son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I already did. I can't wait.
Cheers. Well, I guess D1 took himself out, so I didn't have to choose. I was going to take a Nelly out because I know he would understand. Nelly's
Yeah. Oh, I
Nelly's
would have.
cool like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thanks D1 for not having to give me the choice. Appreciate you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
So I'm actually I just poured my second skull splitter now. So they
See,
said these things go down real easy.
they're
very
like
tasty.
Doritos. You just can't drink one.
Yeah.
My turn.
Your turn.
He's playing with the
Little finger puppets and shit.
He gets to play with the duck.
duck. He's figured.
I want to duck and roll on.
Okay.
This isn't my favorite, even though this is mentioned as one of like the you must try these under the style guidelines from BJCP.
Yep.
This isn't my favorite Scotch ale. I've had one from Clown Shoes, which I was hoping to find, which I really liked. It just seemed to have, it's an American brewery, so the flavors are just so much more intense than this. But this one definitely goes down real easy. It's not cloyingly sweet, like I said. In the aromas, it smells like it's going to be more sweet. The flavors are a bit more of that like darker bread type. Pumpernickel was mentioned in the. I don't think it's as zesty as pumpernickel, but it's definitely like a bread crust and the kind of burnt toffee type notes and dried fruits and a little hint of banana. It's not straight up banana like it's a Hefeweizen banana. Or what's the other one everybody says they taste banana? Miller High Life or something.
Coors Banquet.
Of course, Banquet. Is that?
Genesee cream.
So for this one not being my favorite, I think still within being a Scotch ale, being a wee heavy. I'm not super into real cloyingly sweet beers all the time. This one is really good. It's really easy to drink. I like it. I actually think I like the Old Chub a little bit more than this one though. I'm still gonna give this one a 94 out of 100.
Nice.
Nice. That's great. Good score.
It's funny. The Old Chub is good. It's still an A beer, but it's actually my least favorite Scotch ale of all the ones that I've tried.
Yeah.
I would like to try the Nitro because I think that would kind of add to the mouthfeel and up the score a few points, but it's actually my least favorite of all the ones that we had tonight.
Oh, that is cool.
I just remember I've had Old Chub the first time I ever had a Scotch ale. I was at the Barley Pub in Concord, New Hampshire, and I had a nice pour out of the keg, and that was really good. So,
was it a nitro pour? Do you remember?
No,
or was
it wasn't nitro. Yeah, just a regular one, but still, yeah, it was really, really good, and that's kind of what got me going into trying different ones. Like I said, I came across like a wee heavy from Clown Shoes, and that was
I need your
that
hopping
was
sauce in my
bonkers.
glass first.
Clown Shoes was a wee heavy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I'm gonna have to look at that.
I think we all like Scotch ales because I think we've all finished our first beer, and most everybody's on their second one already. So
yeah, it's
must not be too bad, right?
Cheers to the duck.
I've actually went to a
cheers to the duck.
I had a Scotch ale. Now I'm on a porter.
If the duck was wearing plaid like I am with my pajama bottoms, then it would be a platypus.
BuMpY-ism. What a
There we go. We got one in there on my own channel.
Where do you store all of this in your brain? I don't understand how
it just comes.
There's nothing else in my brain. It's
I guess
just a free flowing, black hole. So I do want to say that normally on most of these occasions we'd end up doing an off air thing where we all choose 4 different styles to go by, and then we create a poll. Well, Drunken One creates a poll, and then we let you guys all vote to decide what the next style is going to be, and then I'll take whatever one wins and then create the style within the style, right? But we are coming up on St. Patrick's Day next weekend or Tuesday. So that Malty Monday, I wanted to stick with the theme of St. Patrick's Day. So the beer to bring for next Malty Monday, everybody. I'm not gonna make a separate video or anything like that. So listen up. I might post it in like some of the hangouts and things, like if anybody has questions. But it's gonna be Irish Stout for next week.
I would have never guessed.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say with an Irish beer, get some green food coloring and a beer, and have that.
Yeah, any green beer will do.
Any green beer.
So yes, an Irish Stout for next Malty Monday. We have anybody in the? I'll leave the StreamYard thing in here again. If there's anybody in the chat that has a Scotch ale, a wee heavy that wants to come up and talk about their brew, feel free. We can chit chat for a little bit if you guys are okay with that. Anything going on? Anybody's channel? Anybody's exciting things going on in your life that you feel is appropriate?
I close my mouth while I cough.
I just released a video. It's about
Just released a video.
Yeah.
What's
Glen
on?
Moray, it's a Scotch. It's a Glen Moray. It's Elgin Classic. So it's a cheap, inexpensive one. It's not expensive at all. It's I think I gave 25, like 99.
I've had that. I've had the Glen Moray.
Yeah.
I've had that one.
It's not.
It's like $27.99 for for a single malt Scotch is pretty good.
Nice.
And it's a non-age stated Scotch. I mean, it's not. I mean, you're not going to go into it with the expectations of the one I just showed you guys earlier.
Yeah.
It's not that, but it's
I don't drink the super expensive single malt Scotch. I just drink the $20 to $40 range. So they're all exquisite to me because my palate knows not what is out there.
What the fuck is going on?
What is good beer?
You eventually start to believe that it's world class stuff, and you won't miss the $120 bottle.
Oh.
It don't work like that, John. I mean,
yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Not everybody has Robert's budget, right?
Robert's stupidity is probably more appropriate.
No. I've spent $100. The most I spent was $110 on a bottle of bourbon because that's my go-to. But if it's worth it every once in a while if you're into that type of stuff. You gotta get the good stuff every now and then.
Oh yeah, you gotta flirt.
Even Ron Terrio spent $200. Ron Terrio, the cheapest guy on YouTube when it comes to liquor. I love Ron. If he watches, he knows I love him. But he buys the $5-6 bottles, cheapest stuff that he can find, and does all these taste challenges. But even he had to splurge on a $200 bottle of the Johnny Walker Blue. So
Ron is king.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ron is king at buying the cheapest stuff he can find. And he can paint lipstick on a pig better than anybody I know.
Yeah, he saved enough money. He can go buy that right too.
Bless his heart.
I
love Ron.
He's
I
watching.
watch him all the time.
He's asleep.
It was the Stag. Actually, it was two. It was the Blanton Single Barrel and the Stag Junior. Both of those I can't. It's been so long since I've had them. I can't remember exactly which expressions they were, but both of those were over $100 with tax.
Wow.
And they were worth. It was worth every penny. I sat on. I mean, I was the life of the party. I had people over. I was like, "Here, try this," and they're like, "Oh,
together or separate? Did you pay
What's that?
for a together price or a separate price?
No, separate. I'm saying I've spent $100 twice on two different whiskeys. One was the Blanton's, and the other one was Stag Junior.
Blanton's is about $59-$60.
Well, it was the special. It was a different. It wasn't the standard.
No,
yeah,
but I understand. Blanton's is we've had this stupid ass bourbon butter, and half the shit back east, unless you make good friends with the people at the liquor stores, and you can ask them to order it in and get it for you. Yeah, you can do it. Oh, shut up, Thrash. you develop a certain rapport with them. You can get it for the real price. If you go in there and try to buy it for, if they got it on stock and they've got enough they can put them on the shelf, yeah, they're going to ask ignorant prices.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
You whack Thomas in the head with that thing.
I'll shut up. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, I'm going to go ahead. I'll tell you what, Bumpy, I'll put myself in the basement because I got to go take a Bumpy leak, and you can go ahead and do whatever you got to do.
Wrap her on up, boys. Wrap her on up.
Take me home.
All right. So, is everybody good? Anybody else have any more topics they want to talk about real quick before we go on?
Sir, I'm okay myself.
Okay. So I want to say thank you to my awesome panel. I always mention that this is a rotating panel. We don't have a set panel, so anybody that watches my my channel that wants to join in, you hear what the style is going to be for the beer, please bring it. You're more than welcome to come up on panel as long as you are acting appropriate. And also, if you don't joining in the panel, but you still want to join the festivities and drink the style of beer, please bring it and drink it in the chat. You can talk about it in the chat. So, also mentioning the chat, I want to thank you guys for showing up and week by week and watching these Malty Mondays and chatting it up, because without viewers, this would just be like an off-air hangout. So it'd be a little more wild, but thank you everybody for joining, and next Malty Monday, St. Patty's. Woo! St. Patty's Day. With the Irish Stout. So
everybody get an Irish Stout.
You can.
I will.
Everybody
listen to Thin Lizzy and be happy. Yeah.
As long as the only way I can
don't bring an export stout. Bring an Irish.
So
Get them now. They might be wiped out by the time you get them. So.
Yeah, right. Hey, good idea. Right.
So it's a good thing too that I think I mentioned it now, so you have a full week.
Okay, since
good answer. That's a good idea.
I'm probably not going to be there. Extra points for anybody who makes an Irish car bomb and drinks it, chugs it all on camera.
Oh my God!
Aye. Extra point.
Everybody create a PayPal account.
Because if I was there,
will be bills.
I may or may not have
IRA, man.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shut this one down. So once again, thank you all for joining and doing this with me every Monday. I appreciate you all. You're all appreciated very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Man. Get you some founders in your life, kids.
get you the wrong beer in your life.
Or buzzies.